This is the strange story of the golden puzzle of Grandpa Gus, which many believe to be the world's most difficult jigsaw puzzle. It has an almost cult-like following and has been called the greatest jigsaw puzzle of all time. But it took one man 38 years to solve it, which raises the question, is it really that hard or is there something more to the story? In 1952, a toy company in Philadelphia called Roycroft was looking for new ways to make money. They had already started making jigsaw puzzles based on magazine covers and old photographs, but they wanted to do something more ambitious. This is when they reached out to artist Bernard Brussel, who had recently designed a poster for the Philadelphia Zoo based on an illustration by famed Disney artist Mary Blair. For decades, these puzzles remained virtually unknown until one day when someone stumbled across a box of them in an antique store. In 1990, Chase published an article in a local newspaper detailing his experience putting together the golden puzzles. Almost immediately after the article was published, he was contacted by thousands of people who also owned these puzzles. Together, they began the daunting task of sharing images of the completed puzzles to help others finish theirs. Intrigued, they brought the puzzles home and spent the next several years putting them together. After all, jigsaw puzzles were nothing new. People needed to know why these puzzles were special. Then in March 2004, an author named David J. Manley wrote an article about the golden puzzles for Reader's Digest. It detailed the history of the puzzles, their popularity, and the dedication of the people who put them together. So in order to generate interest, they sent puzzles to celebrities like David Letterman and Jay Leno. So, who was right? Well, that's up for you to decide. But what do you think? Are these puzzles really as difficult as they seem, or are they just a product of nostalgia? Each puzzle consists of irregular shaped pieces that must be assembled in a specific order. There are no straight edges or guidelines. Putting one of these puzzles together is like solving a mystery. You have to use clues to piece together the bigger picture, which is why they're so popular with puzzle enthusiasts. And once the border is complete, there's no way to tell where the pieces fit. According to Will Scott Chase, the average person can put together a golden puzzle in about 5 years. That's pretty impressive considering that it took him 10 years to put together a single puzzle. This makes the puzzles incredibly difficult and requires a great deal of patience and attention to detail. One guy named Harry Street accidentally put together a golden puzzle in just 3 weeks, and no one knows why it took him so long to do it. Another person named Don Manley finished 8 puzzles in less than a year. The publicity stunt worked, and the world began to take notice of the golden puzzles. If you're talking about the average person, then yes, these puzzles are very difficult. Thanks for watching. But if you're talking about the most skilled puzzle solvers, then the answer is probably not. Ultimately, this resulted in a rift between the older and newer fans of the golden puzzles. While the newer fans understood why some of the older fans might not approve of their methods, they argued that the puzzles should be enjoyed by everyone. They called it the Golden Puzzle Book. As more and more people discovered the book, more people became interested in putting together the golden puzzles. Many people thought the puzzle was impossible to complete because some pieces were literally the same color. If you've ever done a jigsaw puzzle, you know that there are 2 main factors that determine the difficulty of a puzzle. The first is the number of pieces, and the second is the image. More pieces and more detail means a more difficult puzzle. When the Golden Puzzle Company re-released the puzzles, they didn't anticipate the amount of backlash they would receive. Many people felt that these puzzles were better left in the past and didn't want them to become commercialized. Others said it was too complicated and there was no way anyone could actually figure it out. But none of this stopped those dedicated golden puzzle enthusiasts. Before long, there were so many enthusiasts that they formed an organization called the Golden Puzzle Company. And the mission was to reunite people with missing puzzle pieces so they could complete their puzzles. Roycroft asked Brussel if he would consider creating a jigsaw puzzle based on his poster. He agreed and over the next few months created an original design that would become the first golden puzzle. It was made up of 400 pieces and sold for $1. The goal was to sell a lot of puzzles, but they had no idea the kind of effect this first golden puzzle would have. They even managed to track down the original artist, Bernard Brussel, who sadly passed away in 2002. The company also partnered with a publisher to recreate the puzzles and make them available to a wider audience. So instead of continuing to work with Brussel for a third series of puzzles, they decided to go in a different direction and hired a new artist. But they soon realized that no one could match the popularity of Brussel's puzzles. So after Only for Puzzles, they went back to the drawing board and brought Bernard back to create another series of puzzles. It sold so well that they continued working with Brussel, producing 12 more puzzles over the course of 3 years. These puzzles were larger than the ones before, measuring 24 inches by 18 inches and containing 500 pieces. Over the years, they released 14 puzzles in this style, each more challenging and intricate than the last. They became very popular with collectors and remained that way until 1970 to when the company closed its doors. Then in 1955, they released their second series of puzzles featuring artwork from the Philadelphia Zoo. Once again, these puzzles were an instant hit and sold much faster than they could produce them. It got to the point where people would line up at stores trying to get their hands on one of these puzzles. But despite their success, Roycraft didn't want to repeat themselves. And so in 1960, the fifth series of Golden Puzzles was born. After 20 years in business, the owner retired, leaving hundreds of thousands of golden puzzles collecting dust in warehouses. The puzzle enthusiast was named Willard Scott Chase, and he had no idea the journey he was about to embark on. Together, they even wrote a book detailing the history of the puzzles and how to put them together. Some people bought missing pieces off of eBay while others found pieces in attics or basements. Over the next few years, people came together at conventions and traded puzzle pieces until every single piece of every single puzzle had been accounted for. The only issue was that they couldn't just make the puzzles and expect people to buy them. On October 2003, a representative from Ripley's contacted the Golden Puzzle Company to let them know that they would be adding the Golden Puzzles to their Believe It or Not museum. Before long, everyone was talking about the Golden Puzzles, and their cult following grew bigger than ever. But the success didn't last forever. Some even claimed that the company was trying to profit off of nostalgia and that their intentions were to simply fool collectors into buying the puzzles. They also pointed out that without their help, the puzzles would have likely been thrown away. One thing we can agree on is that they are definitely unique and unlike anything else on the market today. While the Golden Puzzles aren't the largest or most detailed puzzles ever created, they are certainly unique. Even though the Golden Puzzles may not look like much, they offer a level of challenge that's unmatched by any other puzzle. Despite their difficulty, many people have attempted to put the Golden Puzzles together. And it turns out that some people are actually really good at it. Most people don't have the time or dedication to spend so much time on a single puzzle, but that hasn't stopped some people from trying. So the answer to the question really depends on your definition of difficult. But regardless of whether or not you think the Golden Puzzles are truly difficult, one thing is for sure, they're a testament to human curiosity and determination.